Each year, Monster Jam introduces new trucks for the upcoming circuit. Some are sponsored trucks that exist to entertain the fans and represent the brand or sponsor that is on the side of the truck. And some are Monster Jam originals that the design team have come up with. And with Monster Jam having 30 years of history behind it, it's no surprise that they have had some awesome looking trucks over the years. So with that in mind, join us today as we discuss the top 10 best Monster Jam trucks that have been retired. The only rules for this list is that it must be retired and has not competed in the current year of 2022. And it must be a truck owned by Feld Motorsports or any previous owners of Monster Jam. Independent trucks are excluded from this list. Another thing is that not every truck is on this list. So with that being said, here's our list. Number 10, Anescalade. Sometimes truck concepts don't have to be super complex or even really detailed. That was put to the test with one of two trucks that debuted at the beginning of the 2005 Monster Jam season. One of them being Superman and the other being Anescalade. The name perfectly described the theme of the truck. A black Cadillac Escalade propped up on top of a grey chassis, with red falling bars and black beadlocks with spinners inside the rims. The truck single-handedly helped define the driver, George Valhan's career, and led to the introduction of Mohawk Warrior even before Grey Clips took over the sponsorship. A concept that in theory really shouldn't have worked, but Valhan not only added character to the truck, but really became the personality behind this unforgettable truck. He was the punk with all the junk. He rocked the Mohawk even before he became the Mohawk Warrior, and he was the very reason why this truck became so memorable. There was even a white Escalade that was only ever used for Monster Jam World Final 7 in 2006. Everything about the truck, from the neon lights to the spinners and the wheels, made the truck so unforgettable. And that's why it deserves to make this list. Number 9, Monster Energy. Monster Energy has always had a large involvement in many motorsports, and with the inclusion of the Monster Energy brand in the sport of Monster Jam in 2012, it's no surprise that the truck is on this list. The truck has really come to sustain and push the careers of many drivers throughout its history. First, it was Damon Bradshaw, who was already big and popular enough, and really took him to the next level. Then, Bradshaw's former crew chief, Cody Saucier, who would debut as second Monster Energy in 2014, had great success, most notably winning the Young Gun Shootout in 2015, and winning the All-Star Challenge Vegas Style Racing Competition in 2019. And most recently, two-time Monster Jam World Finals champion Todd LeDuc. The truck has mainly been a fan favorite for the sole reason of how the drivers who drive this truck are always pushing it to the ragged edge each and every week. At one point in time, the truck even briefly ran as Mutant Super Soda, a truck that was essentially a brief alter ego. Even Mutant lived up to the hype, having a memorable 2018 season and even its own moment at Monster Jam World Finals 19. After the team abruptly left the sport at the end of the 2021 season, the door still may be open for a return, which would render this sport potentially useless, but with a truck that ran as great and consistent as Monster Energy did, it has to be on our list. Number 8, Doomsday. As we talked about last week in our Doomsday video, the truck is given the nickname Monster Jam's most mysterious truck for a reason. Its mystique is what made it so exciting and intriguing. The people running the show went through such great lengths to cover the identity of the driver, going as far to top off the truck and giving the driver a black fire suit with a black helmet to conceal their identity. It went from being an encore-only truck, having different drivers each and every week, to a competition-ready truck that actually won fairly often and was quite competitive. It easily became the biggest talking points of Monster Jam from the years it competed. with forum members discussing it on the Monster Mayhem forum and trying to pinpoint the driver, or drivers for that matter. People made MatPat style theories about the identity of the driver, and when you have that kind of fan base behind a truck that really didn't compete for that long, it has to be on this list. Number 7, Taz. Taz was a unique truck with an interesting backstory. It debuted in late 2005 for the upcoming 2006 season, and was to be driven by Adam Anderson. After Adam's first show behind the wheel of the truck, he flipped over even before making a first hit in freestyle, which really must have been some motivation to burn it down, because from that show onwards, Adam Anderson really showed off that he wasn't just his father's boy. He was a great driver and drove the wheels off the truck each and every week. And when Adam would go on to drive Gravedigger while Dennis was injured for the first half of the 2007 season, other drivers like Leo Donald drove the truck to a high level as well. Of course, the biggest reason as to why Taz was so memorable was because when Adam returned to Taz for the 2008 season, it really helped catapult him into the spotlight and show off his true talent, winning his first ever world championship. This truck had so many memorable moments, it's hard to forget. From his crazy crash in Jacksonville 2009, to his unbelievable run in Jacksonville the following year. And of course, his championship-winning run in World Finals 9, Taz will always be a fan favorite truck. Number 6, Metal Militia. Metal Militia was another staple of the early to mid 2010s. Originally introduced in 2011 at the SEMA Auto Show, it was announced afterwards that Metal Militia would start competing the following year, with former Blue Thunder driver Todd LeDuc behind the wheel, along with the co-founder of the Metal Militia brand and famous freestyle motocross rider Brian Deegan, also behind the wheel. The truck would have a strong debut season and would be invited to compete at Monster Jam World Finals 13 in Las Vegas, Nevada, where LeDuc would win the fastest qualifying position in just his first year. 2 years later, he would go on to win freestyle, one of the most amazing World Finals runs of all time, and would follow up his success of 2014 by becoming the fastest qualifier in 2015 and winning that year's World Racing Championship. The truck would continue to be successful up until its retirement in 2017, where the truck would receive a new design and a new driver, when Metal Militia frontman Todd LeDuc moved to Monster Energy after Dan Bradshaw's abrupt retirement. Metal Militia was an all-around amazing truck that deserves to be on this list. Number 5, Gravedigger The Legend. When Adam was finished with Taz, he finally got a taste of driving Gravedigger full-time, or at the very least, a truck that was his own identity but still represented the Gravedigger brand. In comes Gravedigger The Legend, a truck that commemorated the blue and silver Gravedigger that Dennis ran back in 1983. The truck, like Taz, not only pushed Adam's popularity even further, but solidified his talent and position in the Monster Jam circuit as an amazing driver with prospering talent. In its debut year, a second Gravedigger The Legend was campaigned on Gravedigger 12 and was driven by Tony Farrell. Adam would go on to take the Legend into the stratosphere by winning 2 world championships back-to-back in 2014 and 2013, and is one of the most requested trucks to return back to the circuit. Number 4, Captain's Curse and Blacksmith. These 2 trucks both equally deserve this spot simply because of how popular they've stayed throughout Monster Jam's tenure and how similar they are. Those 2 trucks I'm talking about are these 2 1941 wheelies named Blacksmith and Captain's Curse. Both would originally be campaigned by Pablo Huffaker for World Finals and other various drivers throughout the season. With Blacksmith retiring at the end of the 2007 season, Captain's Curse would be taken over by Alex Blackwell, who would go on to have great success in the truck, really catapulting his career into the spotlight. Captain's Curse would be run all the way up until the end of the 2016 season, Blacksmith really hasn't been revived in any sort of merchandise after the year 2012. However, Captain's Curse has frequently appeared in other forms of merchandise. With Whiplash being the only Willys truck that competes in Monster Jam currently, it's somewhat unlikely that these two trucks will return. Number 3. Backwards Bob. Backwards Bob is a strange, albeit unique truck that had a fittingly strange stint in Monster Jam. The truck debuted in the 2008 World Finals Encore along with Spitfire. With Spitfire being on a brief hiatus due to legal disputes over the name, Backwards Bob would make its debut the following year and compete in the 2009 season with Mike Wine driving the truck. The truck would compete fully again from 2015 to 2016 on a Racehorse chassis, before ultimately being retired at the end of 2016. Since its retirement, like Captain's Curse, it's been one of the most requested trucks to return to the circuit. The design of the truck is very unique, in that the truck is actually driving forwards, but the body is mounted backwards, giving it the illusion that it is driving in reverse. And with its appearances in Monster Jam merchandise, such as the Spin Master diecast line, and its inclusion in Monster Jam Steel Titans 2, there may be a chance that one day, maybe the truck will return. Only time will tell. Number 2. Goldberg / Team Mance. How could we not include the trucks that single-handedly helped build up the career of arguably the sport's greatest and most successful driver of all time, Tom Mance? Goldberg and Team Mance gave Mance a platform to really showcase his driving talents and, with the help of Dennis Anderson, bring the sport to where it is at today. All of them have a common theme, being on the memorable futuristic SUV body that Max D has become so famous for over the years. And Mance drove Goldberg and Team Mance just as hard as he does with Max D today. And it's a no-brainer as to why these trucks were so memorable and very favoured by the monster truck community. Goldberg may have been a largely forgotten truck due to the end of the WCW contract, but Team Mance has continued to live on in Monster Jam's merchandise line, appearing recently in the Monster Jam Monopoly game, and Spin Master's diecast line in 2020-21. What else is there to say, other than that these two definitely deserve a spot on our list? Before we get to number 1, we have some honorable mentions that didn't quite make this list. The superhero trucks didn't make this list only due to the fact that there's so many of them, and in my personal opinion, none of them trump the ones that are on this list. Mad Scientist didn't make the cut as well, and that mainly is due to it's really the only big memorable moment it had being the groundbreaking front flip in 2017. Pastrana 199 / Nitro Circus were a contender for number 10, but I felt like Metal Militia was a more memorable truck and prioritized that over Pastrana. Team Hot Wheels Firestorm and the Hot Wheels truck in general is also not included for similar reasons to Pastrana. Zombie Hunter is one that is really one that I'm an advocate for, as it is very underrated and was definitely underutilized. And finally is Advanced Auto Parts Grinder, and this was another one that was a top contender but didn't make the cut due to trucks that I felt being more memorable and more requested for. With that being said, let's take a look at our number 1 pick. Number 1, Bulldozer. For me, this pick was a no-brainer. For years, fans have wanted to see Bulldozer return to the sport and had such a loyal fan base behind the truck for years on end. Bulldozer, of course, began in the late 90s and was one of the first 3D-style monster trucks and would go on to be the catalyst for one of Monster Jam's most successful monster trucks, El Toro Loco. Even after El Toro Loco would overtake Bulldozer in popularity, the truck still remained to be a crowd favorite and was run up until its eventual retirement at the end of the 2009 season, when Chuck Warner, former Bulldozer driver, would campaign El Toro Loco from that season onwards. There's been so much of an outcry that monster truck owner Mike Harper has taken advantage of the situation by purchasing the competition rights for the truck and is expected to debut this truck at some point in time. And while it won't be owned under the Monster Jam brand, It just goes to show how popular the truck has remained since its debut in the late 90s and how much it means to so many people. And that is why it is on our list as the best retired Monster Jam truck. And well, that's all we have for today. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon with some more Monster Truck content.